Hi friends, and welcome to another video with Zimaleta, or another day with Zimaleta, as I always say. But my name is Serge. For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Serge, and Zimaleta is my branding for a very long time, and it's also kind of like to set me apart from everybody else on YouTube. You'll pretty much know who I am. If you're gonna look for Serge, well, there's probably like a million Serges out there. There's only one Zimaleta, so. But anyways, guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk about what I think about 2018 sprinters, kind of like the basic idea of getting a brand new sprinter, and I'm just gonna make a fresh video. I just got that question from one of my viewers, and I have basically responded back saying that it is kind of like a difficult question, and it all depends on your situation, whether getting a new sprinter is right for you or just upkeeping your old one. So I would like to kind of like make that idea, and kind of like, I'm not sure how long it's gonna take. It's probably gonna be a while, because it's going to be a strategy. Like, what would be my strategy and what I think about new sprinter versus an old sprinter. I'm gonna try to weigh out all the financials and stuff like that, and just to give you guys a clear picture. And then you could take that information, you could say, well, you know, I guess it's not worth getting a new sprinter, or okay, for me, I need to get a new sprinter, you know, kind of like that. So believe me, I thought in both ways. So that is what the video is about. What do I think about 2018 sprinters? That's snow. It sounds like somebody threw a snowball. But anyways, let's begin, guys. So to answer your questions, whether you should be getting a new sprinter, this is the way I kind of look at it. If your sprinter is breaking down and it is on its last leg, and I'm gonna use myself into experience. And first, I'm gonna talk about kind of like what can you really do, okay? But man, like there's so many really, you know, like angles to go about it. So first of all, I guess let's put this aside and let's look at like, why are you buying a sprinter? You're buying this for expedite. You're buying this to drive all over the place. So buying a brand new sprinter 2018, you're going to be desirable by pretty much every expedite company out there, and you'll be like on the highest list of people getting hired because you got a brand new sprinter. You know, that's what they want. They want brand new vehicles, less than 10 years old. So for the next 10 years, you will be highly desirable to work at those places. So that is getting that out of the way. Now, having an old sprinter and upkeeping it, if you already have a company that you're working for and they're working with you, and you're okay with working with them, like I am with working with my company, and I worked with several in the past, and I do good with either company. Like, it doesn't matter. It's almost kind of like it's a split decision. Who do I like to work, you know, for and stuff. I choose to just stick with one company. It is the oldest company that I worked for. It is a very good company. Not gonna name their name because they asked me not to. It's a family-owned company, and we get along. And they treat me good, and they treat me fairly with my loads. And I really understand how they work. They understand how I work, and we have a really good working relationship. So I am grandfathered in with my sprinter, and you know, they're not gonna stop working with me just because I don't have a new sprinter. I have a 2006 sprinter. So that being said, a good option for me, or you in that case, if you are already established and you already have a company that's working with you, and you're getting the loads, you're getting the work, you're getting everything. So in that case, I think it's not worth getting a brand new sprinter. And here's why. A couple years ago, you know, of course, when my sprinter was just churning, like it just churned like 1 million miles. It's right now like 1,182,000. Not this one. This one's only 427,000 only. So it's brand new. So the other one, 1,182,000. Like when it just hit 1 million, so my company was like, well, you know, your sprinter is 10 years old. When are you going to be getting a new one? And you know, they pay me 80 cents a mile, and I'm fine with it because I have a used sprinter. So 80 cents, in my mind, it's feasible. you know, if I could, you know, stay busy and stuff like that. And, you know, so I think it's fine, you know, because I don't have that extra expense every month, and I fix my own sprinter, so it is fine for me. But they asked me, so when are you gonna get a new sprinter? Because you're the only one with an old sprinter, and everybody has gotten like a brand new one. And I'm like, well, if I get it, will you pay me 90 cents? No. I'm like, no. Then why should I get a brand new sprinter? You know, getting that extra 10 cents will pay for the sprinter payment. You know, not getting that extra 10 cents, that means it's going to come out of my pocket. So now, instead of making 80 cents, I'm making 70 cents. Now, what do you think about that? Plus, you take fuel out of it. Plus, you take insurance out of it. So now, I'll be having a more expensive insurance, which should, like, why would I want that? Like, I'm paying right now for just the liability like $142, plus my company charges me $100 for insurance, but that's, you know, how it is, because they have to cover me. But I'm not gonna just, they told me I could drop my coverages down. I don't have to be at $1 million. I'm not gonna drop them down, because here's why. I'd rather be, how should I say, like, I'd rather be like an independent contractor. You just never know if you're gonna need to get hired by another company, and they're gonna need that $1 million liability, 100,000 cargo. And you know how companies are, and how insurance companies are, and you gotta pay all these down payments, you know, to get started. And when they recalculate your policy, you might end up paying more. So it's kind of like you're losing. But you know, we're not gonna get to the insurance policies, you know, that kind of thing, because, you know, it's to each its own. Every policy is different, and somebody might say, well, it's no different, all you do is just like upgrade the policy and it's not going to cost you any more. But you know, it's the hassle of things, you know, having to always change. So I'd rather keep things the same and see the policy maybe hopefully drop over time, you know. And by having an old sprinter, it's cheaper because I just have a liability coverage, because it's an old body. Like, I mean, I don't want any accidents to happen, but if it should happen, I'll just replace the body. I'll take all the parts, I'll probably get it towed and replace it, just put all the guts into another sprinter. Like my parts sprinter, for instance. Like that whole body, it could be, you know, a sprinter once I put all the guts inside. So to me, like, it's not worth paying this really expensive liability insurance, like a full coverage, so that they're gonna pay me all this money, $15,000 for a sprinter. It's gonna get total. They're not gonna pay you that. You know, insurance companies, they want to pay you as little as possible. The very first thing they're gonna do is like, oh, we need to look up your value of your vehicle. They're gonna look that up, and they're gonna find the cheapest price, and they're gonna say, well, your vehicle is only worth $3,000. I had a friend of mine, he literally spends like over $6,000 on insurance, and this is common every year, which is common, expedited insurance. And his van got totaled, and they wanted to give him $2,800. It was completely total, like he couldn't do nothing with it, you know. So so look at that, it's like unfair. And he had full coverage, so you know, it's ridiculous. But anyways, getting back to these type of things, thinking about what I think about the 2018 Sprinter, even though I haven't even said a word of it, but I just want to kind of, you know, give you guys an open picture, just make you think a little bit, kind of like, what would it actually mean for you? What is the idea of getting the new Sprinter? Sure, you're gonna get a brand new Sprinter, you're going to feel really nice, you're gonna feel like a boss driving it, you're gonna be like, man, you're gonna feel like everybody's jealous of you because you got a brand new Sprinter. I had a buddy of mine, he got a brand new Sprinter. He's like, don't be jealous, don't be jealous. I'm like, look, I'm not jealous. If I want to be jealous, I'll just go buy myself one, you know. I mean, I don't have to even be jealous, you know, about that. But that's a payment. That's a payment for the next 5 to 6 years. So this means you need to kind of look at this expediting thing. Like, okay, well, for the next 5 years, if that's how long your contract's gonna be, like, you know, payment thing, I'm going to be expediting. If you could say that with certainty, that that's what you're gonna be doing for the next 5 years, then hey, you know, maybe it's for you, because certainly it's going to pay for itself if you're driving it. But you know, in 5 years, it's going to have so many thousands of miles that it's going to feel like it's old. Of course, like with every vehicle, that's going to happen. But let's back it up a minute. In 1 year, you're going to have 100,000 or more miles on your Sprinter, and that is very common. So that means in just a single year, you will lose your warranty. You will lose your warranty. And guess what, guys? These new Sprinters, they have their own problems. You might think, well, this old Sprinter is causing me so many problems. But think again. These are actual, real problems that could be with engine, with sensors, in transmission, rear differential, drive shaft, what have you. This is real problems, real parts that are required by the engine to operate that are going bad. Now, how do you feel about brand new Sprinter, particulate filter in about 40,000 miles getting clogged up and now does not want to pull anymore, and you try to regenerate it, but then it stops working altogether, and then they recommend, well, $3,800. Sure, you could get a little discount, maybe drop it down to $2,800, maybe, you know. You could get it cleaned, you could send it off somewhere, but I mean, think about the downtime, like the inconvenience of even doing that type of thing, even like removing and cleaning yourself, like a part that not even supposed to be existent over there. Like, I don't even have to think about that part with my old Sprinter. I just have to think about the real problems that the Sprinter has. Like, I don't have to worry about the particulate filter. So, you know, that's $3,800 part. And if you're not going to install it yourself, guess what? That's labor. And once you install it, they might say, oh, you need new sensors, NOx sensors. They're going to charge you for that. So, okay. So you might think, okay, well, I could deal with that. But how do you feel about every time you're driving, it's like you're fueling up a second fuel tank with DEF fluid. I think it's every 500 miles that you have to add that, probably like 2.5, 3 gallons in there. I'm not really sure how big that tank is. But just think about that. Like, you're spending money on diesel, and now you're spending for some kind of DEF. Like, what is DEF? I literally heard, and this could be a joke, I literally heard that it's made out of rat piss. Now, I don't like to claim something on my channel that somebody else said, because it could be completely untrue, but I haven't done the research, and I'll just tell you that. So if you know what it's made out of, put it in the comments below, because that could be just somebody being upset that the DF is just nothing but piss and they're paying for it from rats. Could happen, you know, but at the same time, it might not be far from the truth. I mean, they literally probably thought, what are we going to do with all this piss? So they got all these farms that they are spraying all this ponds of pig piss into thin air. They're like an aerosol. And people in those towns are like smelling all this. They think they're smelling pigs. They're smelling piss because it's being aerosoled out and you're breathing that stuff. Because they're thinking, what are we going to do with all this piss? So it could be horse piss, cat piss, well, probably not cat piss, but horse piss, bull piss, cow piss, you know, like any farm that has these animals, they're probably thinking, how could we sell this? Like, we have so much of it, we don't need it here. Could we make money on this stuff? And I mean, I cannot imagine they have like so many rats that are pissing. Like, to me, that's like so like unrealistic. But they can, like, for instance, like farm animals, sure, I could see it like being like realistic. I even seen heating elements that they made out of by like heating places using poop from animals. I guess due to methane, and then plus they burn it up. I guess like once they use up all the methane, they actually end up burning everything else, and they're creating energy on farms, you know. So it might not be far from the truth. I mean, they got to get the stuff from somewhere. So somebody's probably came up with a business. Hey, we're gonna pick up all the piss that you could give us, and we're gonna make DEF fluid. We're gonna color it blue and make everybody think blue. What a nice color. Put that piss inside of you think, you know. And I'm also thinking, because maybe piss has a salt type of content, that they're thinking it's not gonna freeze. But if it not freeze, then why all the truck stops have insulated DEF pumps? It's like, I'm literally looking at these pumps and I'm thinking they're insulated, but DEF pumps are not on your Sprinter. So what's gonna happen once you fill it up and you're at a truck stop? Is it just gonna freeze over? Well, guess what? It will. According to some of the drivers that I spoke to, they started having DEF problems around wintertime, and that makes complete sense, because if you're over there parked and it's really cold, like in Michigan or some other cold state, that stuff just freezes over, and your light comes on. You have 15 starts remaining. And you're like thinking, wait a minute, it's not empty. The DF fluid is in there. Like, why is my light coming on? 15 starts? Are you kidding me? Like, how do you get rid of that? And I heard, that only dealer could get rid of that. So you have to take it to the dealer so they could clear the code. And technically, I'd heard that these other devices that we have, like to clear codes, they're not going to work for that. But, maybe if you get a professional one, like, I'm not sure what the name of it was, like Navstar. I can't remember. What Mercedes actually uses. Like right now, it's not in my head, but it's something. And you could probably get one unit from China and clear that code. I suppose for like $1,500, you probably get that unit, like a brand new one, and then you could just clear it and then you keep going. But if you're out of 15 starts, that means you're just not going to start your vehicle up. So I started kind of like asking, like, how do you feel about DEF? Like, you filling up the DEF, but how do you feel about it going out? And now you have to spend between $5,000 and $7,000 to replace it, to replace a part that you don't even need to operate your diesel. It's completely pointless, and it's probably not even working for the environment. It's probably not really doing a good job at cleaning. It's just probably somebody's collecting carbon tax credits for this from the government and started a whole business around tax credits, and then they probably use these tax credits to lobby Congress or the government to pass this law that now you are required to put this DEF system in your car. How ridiculous is that? I mean, it used to be that we didn't have seatbelts in our cars before I was born, and of course, yeah, it's the law to wear the seatbelt now, but it used to be no seatbelts. So it's understandable. Let's keep safe. Now they add airbags. Okay, it's fine, safety feature. But, people used to drive without no insurance, but now you have to drive with insurance, and you're constantly being taxed all over the place. Now, you have to pay your registrations, your inspections, your mechanic, your insurance, and the insurances, they're not even shy. They charge you an arm and a leg for insurance. So having a new Sprinter, that means you'd be paying like double or triple the insurance. Could be, and they don't even care about what your driving history is. You are getting $1 million liability, 100,000 cargo. You are pretty much getting a semi-commercial insurance to cover a cargo van. Like, how fair is that? Like, that's like not even fair. So what do I think about 2018 Sprinters? I think it's more headache than it's worth. If you could find a company that can actually hire you with your older Sprinter, and you can. I have some of my viewers that's actually watching my channel. They got like a 2008 Sprinter. Sure, it's new body style, but they're doing very well. The Sprinter is probably just at about its limit to get hired. It's a consideration. But here's another thing that I think, guys. 2008, they still got particulate filter. Sure, you could get rid of it. You could cut it off and put a straight pipe. And if your state does not have inspections, you could actually get away with it. And since we're not DOT regulated, that means nobody's going to be checking or looking at the thing. So 2018 Sprinters, like having these extra things, it just seems like it's already going to cost you like this extra money. Not only that you're spending money on payments every single month for the next 5 to 6 years, but now you have to worry about, what if my DF system goes out? And then you got these guys that go to like this various mechanics that reprogram the computer, usually at a cost of $1,500, and which is not cheap, just so you're not even gonna have that system. So you're still paying for the van, and now you got rid of that system, so it could be good. But let's look at other things. Guys, looks like I need to start driving. I don't think it's gonna be too noisy. They just gave me a load, but I want to continue this topic. Because
52 miles off Michigan 14
I'll
west.
tell you what, guys, I've been on two sides of the fences. I had a brand new Sprinter before, and I had an old Sprinter before. And when I had a brand new Sprinter, I never had enough money. I was always broke. So for 2 years of owning it, after 1 year it started breaking down. In 2 years I had 350,000 miles. And it was not even paid for, and I still don't have the money. So it seems like, oh, you're gonna have a new Sprinter and it's going to pay for itself and all this great stuff. Maybe it didn't work for me. Maybe it would now with the right company, but I'll tell you what, in 2007 when I started expediting, and I'm telling you guys, this is true information, I was getting $1.20 per mile, and then when fuel started going up, $1.40, $1.60, and $1.80 per mile. Now keep in mind, that company was only paying me one way. I didn't have to drive back home. I could have found another company that would maybe load me back home, but that company would never find me loads going home. So this means, I just hit a, well, I have to be stopped at a light, but which means I would have to drive home to get another load. So I accumulated double the miles than I should have. So half of the time I was not getting paid. So the 120, if you divide it by 2, I was only getting paid 60 cents a mile, and that would explain that, you know, why I didn't have any money. So I was doing that for a year and a half, and then I figured out that, hey, I could be doing this long distance, because at that time, just to give you an idea, gross income, I was only making $4,000, and then I had an $800 Sprinter payment, $800 rent payment. Man, and if I think about it, I had close to $2,000 in fuel costs. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, I thought, wow, I'm making $4,000. It's really good money. I never made $4,000 before. And then I quickly realized that, like, I don't have like nothing left over. I literally have to think, I think I need to get rid of my cable. I got rid of my cable. I still kept my internet. I had a home phone. Got rid of the home phone. Then, you know, I was thinking, man, how else can I save? Because I had expensive phone plan, which was unlimited, but it was really expensive for Verizon. I was paying like for 2 phones like nearly $200, which is normal. But in either case, I was like really not making any money. That's local, and that's what. Well, it's kind of, it's a local company. They had some local stuff going on, and they had long distance stuff going on, so it was kind of like that. But the local stuff, they paid me different. 20 mile, 30 mile deliveries, they paid me about $30, $35 per each delivery. And if it was like further down, they paid me a little bit more. No, they didn't pay me $30. They paid me $53. Sorry, because I'm thinking of $30. That's ridiculous. $53. But I guess when fuel prices got expensive, they paid me $1.60, $1.80. That was pretty much my price. And at $1.60, I was getting 80 cents a mile. So considering it's not that bad. That's actually what I work for now. But when I bought a used Sprinter and I don't have any more Sprinter payment, I started saving money. And I'm thinking, I'm actually making money now. I'm less busy. It was bad economy. And I'm thinking, I'm making money. Like I could actually live now. And before I could do that. So I guess you have to ask yourself a question like, what do you really care about? Do you want a nice Sprinter that you could feel nice and comfortable in and look good in and look professional in? Or do you actually want to make money? And now, of course, it's important to get out of the way this other main question and comment or whatever else you might call it. These old Sprinters, they break down. And if you're gonna pay somebody to fix it, roughly, it's gonna break down on you about 3 times a year. This is probably at worst. And each time you're gonna spend about $3,500 for repairs. So if you're gonna look at that, that's above $10,000. And you might say, hey, I could use that money just to pay for your Sprinter. But keep in mind, again, sure, it's breaking down and you spending that money. But think again, with a new Sprinter, in 1 year, you're also gonna have breakdowns. Believe me when I tell you guys, you'll still have the payment and the breakdowns and the expense of insurance, and it's not gonna be even fuel efficient. The fuel economy on it is just terrible. Well, I think it's terrible. The 6-cylinder is terrible. 4-cylinder is fine. 4-cylinder, it's comparable like 5-cylinder. I'm thinking, look, if you will get a new Sprinter, you are doing expedite, do not get a dually, and do not get a 6-cylinder engine. Yes, it's gonna seem like it's more luxury, it's more better, it's more stronger, but get a 4-cylinder. Fuel prices will go up, and when they do, you'll be saving between $600 and $700 per month in fuel costs. And believe me when I tell you guys, that's like almost your car payment. Like at the time when fuel prices were expensive, I actually considered getting a 4-cylinder Sprinter because I did the math, and at over $4 a gallon, I think our average was like $4.15 a gallon. I kind of figured the fuel economy might be about 24 miles per gallon versus 18.9 on the 6-cylinder. And I did this complete math. I don't remember the numbers, but I had them written down. And I'll tell you guys, I do remember this though. It was about $700 to $800 savings just from the fuel efficiency of a 4-cylinder alone. And at the time, the fuel numbers were not published. It was not really known. Like, I barely found information where it said 24 miles per gallon. Like, that's what they were estimating. So I wasn't really sure. So here's what I thought, guys. When my old Sprinter broke down and it busted a hole in my engine, I decided to spend $9,500. This is with installation from Mercedes. It was going to be $14,000, keep in mind, but I had to bargain with them. So I spent $9,500 getting a remanufactured engine. It came with a brand new turbo. Basically, it didn't come with a starter or alternator or fan, but it came, or you know, it did not even come with a belt, you know. But you know, that stuff is new, and I kind of thought, you know, I mean, just think about this. The engine in itself, if I would have replaced it myself, I would have saved pretty big. Like the engine itself, and I can't remember this now. I think it was like $7,500 or $7,000 for a remanufactured engine from Mercedes. While walking around inside of the Mercedes store, I've noticed if you become NB member, club member, you save 50% of parts. So I told them, can I become a member today and save today? They said yes. So I became a member really quick. I think it was like $50 a year for the membership, and I saved like, I don't know, like $1,000 or $1,500. So ultimately, I was gonna spend about $6,500 for a new engine, plus tax, plus core charge of $900. But I just gave him my engine. But I kind of thought about it. Like, I mean, think about this, guys. Brand new fuel injectors is probably gonna cost you, for a set of 5, $2,500. Plus installation, or you install it yourself. A new head, probably about $2,000. High pressure fuel pump, that thing is like $3.5 grand, which is really surprising. That's the price I've seen. I've seen some reman high pressure fuel pumps for like $3.5. A fuel rail usually, 700 remanufactured, but then you had that core charge of like $300 or something if you don't send yours in, so you're still paying a little bit over $1,000. Usually average price about with a high pressure fuel pump, a used one, will remanufactured, $1,500. And the fuel rail is about $1,000. And you know, you go on and on and on, and you look at all these parts and you think, man, having a remanufactured engine really made sense. I mean, think about it. You install that, and it's going to operate, you know, for the next 2-3 years probably without giving you any problems, and it's going to be fuel efficient while doing so, and you're gonna make that money back each month in fuel savings, and you're gonna have a Sprinter that does not have any payment, and that means you could take off whenever you want to. You could park it like I do, and I take a month off or 3 weeks off. You can't do that in a new Sprinter. You literally are going to be a slave to that Sprinter. Sure, you could do it, but you can't. And that's because when you do that, you might need to make some money, and they're not going to be like any loads, and you're just not going to make it, and that payment is going to be always a burden. And then you have to worry about breakdowns. And, you know, it's just, you know, that's just the thing. That's why I'm saying, like, it all depends on how you do it. Like, this is the way I would do it. Like, if I would buy a brand new Sprinter, that's the way I would do it. Like, if I would want to hire drivers to work for me a long distance, in my mind, I do believe it makes sense to buy a brand new Sprinter, because old ones will break on the road, and because those Sprinters are being fixed on the road all the time, because they're being fixed, you're spending already that payment anyways. So I would get a brand new Sprinter, keep it about 2 years, have a driver drive it, trade, and then after the 2 years, just have it drive locally, and just buy another Sprinter, you know, for somebody to drive like long distance, so that I could continue growing my company and not having to worry about breakdowns on the road. Only worry about local breakdowns, because local I could fix myself and I wouldn't have to really worry about it. So like in that case, yes, brand new Sprinter makes a lot of sense, because at least you know the driver that's driving it don't have to really, you know, they don't take care of the vehicle anyways, but you're under warranty. So while it's under warranty, keep it on the road. If it's not going to be under warranty anymore, then you're going to have to make a decision. Is it like a good operational condition and stuff like that? Then maybe have it drive local. Or maybe even wait till, I don't know, like, well, I don't know, probably just wait till the warranty expires and then just have the driver drive local. You know, that's kind of like, I think, what I would do, you know. And I may end up doing that, except if you will get, you know, like Sprinters, new Sprinters for doing this kind of thing, make sure you finance and using your own business's money, like LLCs or something, corporation, some kind of corporation. Don't put it under your personal, because, you know, you could fail and then it's gonna hurt your credit history and that kind of thing. So with business, you can just bankrupt it and that's it. You know, pull it wherever you want. But yeah, I could talk on and on about this, but guys, that's really what I think. I mean, is it really worth it to you or is it not? I'm not sure if I really looked at all the details, but. And I'm pretty sure, like I mentioned, you will have breakdowns in an old Sprinter. Yes, you cannot escape it. But if you're one of those people that watch my videos, and you know, I'm talking about people that really are not mechanically inclined, but they watch my videos and now they know a little bit, and you can kind of take care of your vehicle and diagnose your old problems, you're not going to be spending $10,000 a year fixing it. I don't spend that kind of money, guys. I probably don't even spend, I don't know, like, probably don't spend $2,000, because I mean just fuel filters and oil changes and fluids, that could easily cost you between $100 and $200 a month. So that alone is that's already like what, $2,400. So yeah, you know, you're gonna be spending that anyways for the new Sprinter. So that's a given. You're gonna be spending that used or new. That does not even, you know, make a difference. But on the new Sprinter, it requires more oil for each oil change, so you will be spending more money for the oil. You will be spending more money for the parts, like fuel filters and whatnot. Some of them are like $150. Like I spent $21 today on a fuel filter from a parts store. They did try to sell it to me for $56, but I have a commercial account, so they dropped it down, like, which was like really crazy. You know, so it's really good savings. So yeah, guys, it's like, you know, there's pros and cons to everything, you know, and this video is not even, I mean, I didn't even touch everything about it. I just touched on the main things that you would actually think about, like fuel economies, payments, times, you know, like off from work and stuff like that. I mean, maybe listen to this thing all over again. That way I don't have to like repeat myself. Just at some of the things that you will expect from that kind of Sprinter. And driving an old Sprinter, the parts are much cheaper. I generally could fix it myself, and usually it's nothing that important. I mean, you don't have to like remove your engine or your head for the most part. I mean, that's a really major type of situations. You know, typically it's going to run good, and it's just sensors and this and that. At least there's no DEF. At least there's no particulate filter. Sure, there's GR, and you already know how annoying that is. So. And that's already kind of like sometimes hard to diagnose. Is the EGR, that's why it's not pulling? Or is it the turbo? Why is it limp mode? You know, like it might be confusing for some of you guys. But when you have like DEF problem, now you have the particulate filter and you have the GGR, you're thinking, is it the engine? Is it a sensor? Like, where's the failure going on? Like, it's more to think about. Like, it's more to consider, like how everything is working and stuff. There's way more sensors in new Sprinters than this. I think it's like double the sensors. So it means it's double the problems, double the headaches, because normally it's just the sensors that fail, you know, and in some cases they're cheap, in some cases they're expensive, and in every case it's a headache. And if you don't know what you're doing and you give it to somebody else to fix, minimum bill you're gonna get $3,500. That's the way I look at it. Like, that's from my experience. You bring it in, before you know, you're walking out with a $3,500 bill. That's, you know, that's just how it is, you know. So I hope this really answered your question, because I don't know whether you wanted me to talk about the performance or kind of like what I think about that, but I look at what actually matters. New sprinters feel good, they smell nice, they make you look professional. You'll get better jobs. This is just kind of like recap. You'll get more work, you'll be more hireable, but you could also do that with an old sprinter. You could, you might not get a job everywhere you're gonna go, but you will find those companies that are trying to grow, like me. Like for instance, if I was to start an expediting company, I would be taking old vans. So that means there's somebody else would be taking old vans. Of course, you have to be kind of smart and make sure you kind of check the van out, make sure it's not in terrible shape to where you're not going to be impacting your branding strategy for your company. But on the other hand, having so many people with their sprinters and stuff, you could make money still. And if you're good at giving a load to somebody else, if there's a breakdown, you haven't really lost anything, and the drivers ultimately have to be the ones to figure out what's wrong with their vans anyway. It won't be really my problem. Like if I would be loading the vans, it would be more like a driver problem. It's just a hassle to try to remove the load from this van and put it on another, and sometimes the load is way too heavy and you can't do it, and it's a whole thing, But that's like with anything. A new sprinter could break in 20,000 miles. Seriously, that happened with EGRs and stuff. I mean, with DF, 20,000 miles. That's it. It's already having problems. But anyways, guys, I'm driving in the snow, and you probably can't tell, but I'm going to be careful and not and basically finish this video. But I think it's been long enough, and I think this topic has been pretty well explained. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're not a subscriber and you never thought about subscribing, please subscribe. I beg you, because I feel really good about subscribers and my viewers. I'm always going to be on YouTube, and I would like to grow as much as possible. I do get paid from that now, and now it's fun. I really enjoy getting paid. And please, if you want to, watch some ads or play my playlist when you go to sleep, so that the ads will play, so I make even more money, more, and I can spend home time and fix more sprinters and explain to you guys even more what is the next best fix, what is the cheapest fix and stuff like that, because that's what I do best. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and one thing before I go, I would like to say, it's snowing, it's dangerous, it's icy. I will be careful, but be careful, guys, yourself. Slow down, don't drive that fast, 20-30 miles an hour like I'm doing right now in the snow. And maybe stay in the middle lane if it's possible. If there's like 3 lanes, stay in the middle lane, because if it's gonna twist you sideways, at least you have more room to try to get your vehicle back into control. And if the vehicle is swerving to the right, you're gonna have to counter steer. You're gonna also need to steer to the right, and if it swerves to the left, you got to steer to the left to put your vehicle in control. I know it might seem like it's opposite, but that's the way you stabilize the video. Maybe play some racing games and do some drifting, and you're gonna realize that that's how you do it. So but don't do any drifting in the snow, especially on the highway. But take care, guys. God bless you, and please be safe out there. Hey guys, I just quickly want to add something to what I think about getting 2018 Sprinter. And I guess this is important because when I was actually talking, I did not think of a solution for somebody that may be watching this, that's considering getting into this business and thinking, well, I don't have money for a used Sprinter. And you're not really going to get financing for a used Sprinter typically, unless you do like a buy here, pay here type of lot, which is going to be pretty high interest rate and probably not a good solution for you. Maybe it is, if you do the thinking. But this is what I want to say. If I look back in 2007, when I started this business, if I didn't buy a brand new van, I would not be able to start this business. And brand new van was for me a way in, because I was able to get financing. Now there you go. So if you're trying to get into this business and you don't have any cash, you'll still have to have some cash for down payment and fueling yourself and stuff, and whatever other bills you have. But if you don't have money saved up for a used Sprinter, buying a new Sprinter is a good option to go ahead and get into this business. But keep in mind, it is a competitive business, It is not a glorious business. You're not going to feel like your best all the time because you might not be able to handle long distances. Just keep that in mind. I mean, for expediters, of course, we already know what we're dealing with. And I was answering a question to the expediter. I was deciding to see if he's going to get rid of his 2006 Sprinter, maybe continue fixing it, or buy a new Sprinter. But for somebody that's new and you don't have cash and you're trying to get into it so you could go ahead and start making money, then yeah, getting a new Sprinter would be a pretty good option. But that's just going to be the decision you'll have to make yourself. So I hope you like